Everybody, this is Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're listening to the LCC Network. Go Bucks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioners Clubhouse and the LCC Network for our week one of the regular season. That's right, football is here, fantasy football is here, college football is officially here. Thanks to Conference USA. It's all actually happening somehow as of now, at least. I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, we've got a good bit of things. We're going to kind of recap the draft, how rosters look, how teams look, our thoughts on them. I'm sure all of you are pretty pumped about that. We're also going to break down our game of the week, and if we have time, we may even briefly run through all the other matchups in the league and kind of discuss real quickly who we think is going to win and lose each game. With me today, though, I've got Jameson and Cody, so let's dive into it. How are you guys doing?
All right, Jameson.
I'm doing well. Whoops. That was that was a mistake. That that was apparently just a subconscious thing for when Cody missed out on Devin Bush in the draft.
Perhaps some salt in the wound.
Hey, throw salt, baby. Throw salt.
I didn't mean to. All right, guys. Yeah, no, I'm super excited. This is the very, very last episode here of the off season, heading into week one. We are 2 days away from the start of the season here. So let's kick it off here with some of our draft review. All right, guys. So we have for the first time in a while. I don't know if we've all 24 been in the same draft pool at once. I can't remember, but we got to experience this a few days ago. It left us all looking at our rosters, and admittedly, everyone feels like there's at least one hole, right? Like on their roster that's a little bit not up to par, right? Where they would want it to be. Drafting that many guys. So we went through some of the rosters here and wanted to talk about some of our favorites, some of our least favorites, maybe talk about very briefly what the playoff picture might look like, just based solely on the rosters now. So with that, guys, give me a team whose roster that you liked after the draft. And you're looking at the roster, it looks like maybe it's whatever metric you want to use, right? So it has the most depth, it has the most stars, it has the best lineup, whatever you like. Give me a roster that you like looking at.
Pat.
Okay. I'll start off. And obviously we're not going to talk about probably our own teams here because we don't want to bore everyone to death. But I'm going to pick a team that initially, like last year, we thought was going to be good, and I feel like kind of fell to the wayside a little bit. But that's BP, and we haven't named the conferences, by the way. I don't know if anyone else realized that. So I guess for now, Conference A West Division, that's BP. Beg for Greg or Beg for G-Reg, depending on how you want to read his team name. But no, I think he had a surprisingly good draft, and I think honestly he's one of my favorite teams to win that Conference A West Division title at the moment. Obviously, this is pretty early on. We have COVID. We have players getting hurt. Trades can happen in both the LCC and in real football. But that's a team, when I look, he's got Dalvin Cook at running back with Latavius Murray at running back as his backup. He's got Brandon Cooks at receiver, Terry McLaurin. So obviously, his receiving core is there's a little left to be desired there. But we all know in this league especially, you can stream receivers and get by. Brian Burns and Calais Campbell at defensive line. He's got Devin White at linebacker with Jamie Collins as his backup there. And then a DB, he's got Tracy Walker, which I'm a huge fan of. And he's got Chuck Clark, who could also be good. And Patrick Peterson there is kind of a third guy if he ever wanted to float into his starting lineup.
No, I agree. And I personally think he's got a lot of upside at receiver. Terry McLaurin going into his second year. And I think Cooks with Deshaun kind of leaves a good taste in my mouth, to be honest with you. I think him being the number one receiver, if he can stay healthy, he's showing that he's a productive receiver as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like he can stream receiver. I think that's a good start. Obviously Devin White, the safeties look strong. Dalvin Cook's a stud, and I think Ryan Tannehill's certainly more than capable. So I agree. And in that division, there's a couple guys that I'm not super fond of. So I think he definitely has a good shot. So coming off his rookie season last year in the league, won the division, uh, off to a good start already.
Yeah, I'll say this too. Like he was definitely like I jotted down 5 teams that I really liked, and he was part of that as well. So I'm with you on that, Pat.
What about you, Cody? Who do you like?
Me as a whole, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and like throw it out there. There's 2 teams that I really like, but I'm just gonna do this because I just need to do it. I like Cameron's team personally. Um, I feel like he's maybe, I don't know. I feel like he's got a guy in every single spot that's pretty good. Like, he's got Aaron Rodgers sitting at quarterback. If Aaron's Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't have quite the weapons that he usually has, but it's Aaron Rodgers. Give me a break. And then he's got Derrick Henry, one of the, definitely a top 10 running back, an RB1 for sure. And it's not even close. His receivers, like, I'm not a huge fan of Odell Beckham, but then he's got DJ Chark as well. And I really like DJ Chark. And I like Chenault next to him. So I feel like DJ's not going to get really like doubled too much because I think he's going to take some heat off of him. I like the upside with having Josh Allen in his second year, and then you have a guy backing you up like Houston, who's just consistent, and you know what you're going to get from Justin Houston. Joe Schobert, I'm super interested to see what he does in Jacksonville, and I like Demario Davis as a backup. I think he's done a really good job, and like I said off the podcast, like it seems like he's had Harrison Smith for God knows 5 years. Like every time I go look at a roster, I see Harrison Smith on Cam's roster. It feels like, but he did a really good job. I really think like his team is really good. He's going to be a tough opponent this year, and I look forward to playing him two times this year.
It's good to see you guys make amends after yesterday.
I wouldn't say that.
Now Cameron has to publicly say nice things about you.
Exactly.
No, I agree. Cameron's team looks strong. The projections, they kind of agree. I think he's like projected at like 190 something, Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really, there aren't any holes there, like you said. So, hats off to Cameron for starting the season strong after winning the title last year.
What you got, Jameson? Who's your guy?
Well, it's not a guy at all. It's actually Maria.
Ooh.
Coming back into the league. Yeah, coming back into the league. Before I get into that, I want to say something to Hunter because I'm pretty sure he's listening. Hunter took probably 4 of my picks in the draft. It was getting to a point where it was like almost aggravating knowing that Hunter was on the clock. Like I could just feel my body tense up because I'm like, oh, here he goes again. He's gonna steal another player. Like DJ Moore right before I was gonna take him. Malcolm Jenkins. Chris Thompson, who I thought was going to fly under the radar right before I could get him. Like, it just happened over and over. So, I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but we'll see.
I'll say one thing about Hunter. He just needs to start looking at, like, what guys he's drafting in terms of he drafts off of talent and not who's on the same team because he's got literally 2 different positions with the same team. Like both of his defensive ends are Dallas and both his linebackers are Arizona. So that's something you just got to look forward to. But he drafted talent, and you can't say anything about that.
Yeah, he literally just messaged me like less than 30 minutes ago, and he said, "Yeah, I kind of forgot I had Simmons in the rookie draft." But I mean, we trust him. I mean, he's done nothing but win since he's been here. So, all right. Anyway, so to get back to Maria's team, so Drew Brees starting out the quarterback position. Super solid. I love Drew Brees as a fantasy player. Alvin Kamara, obviously has been a stud. She's got some receivers that she can stream with Keenan Allen and Cortland Sutton. J.J. Watt, there in the defensive end slot. Devin Bush, not to play this again, Cody. Devin Bush, their starting linebacker. And then Taylor Rapp at safety. I love Taylor Rapp. I think he's going to have a good season. He had a great rookie season. So top to bottom, it's a very solid team. And she's in a division that I think is winnable. Although I will say she has to watch out for Mondo and for Hunter for sure. But Mondo's team looks very strong too. And I think Mufali's in that division too.
And I think we all had, I just want to point this out. I think we all have Mondo in probably our like top 3 or 4. It's just we ended up picking like certain guys to talk about, but Mondo's somebody that needs to be like shown some love. He literally has one of the best drafts I've seen on here. I love a lot of what he did with his roster as well. So that's going to be, honestly, going in, I didn't think that was probably going to be the best division, but like might be the best division based off a draft.
Yeah, and really, I mean, if you look at the teams there, so it's Mondo, Hunter, Maria, and Mufali. I mean, I know Pat, you said you don't love Mufali's team, but it's still stronger than some of the other teams in the league. I mean, that could be a very, very competitive division, in the A Central.
The A Central.
Right.
We got to come with some conference names because it's gonna be weird saying the A conference and the B conference.
I think what helps with Volley too, though, is like he's one of the more active guys too. So he's one of those guys that really tinkers and really finds those like hidden gems, like in free agency, or is willing to make a trade to make his team better. So he's one of those guys that he's gonna put in the work to make his roster better.
Yeah, I mean he could easily Terrell Edmonds and Keanu Neal, I think, carry a lot of value in trades, and there's some teams out there that need. Like, look at Team Brandon. He's rostering 2 cornerbacks. We're going to talk a little bit later about teams that we're not crazy about. And I think that's one of mine. But he could easily trade one of those guys and then upgrade at one of those positions where he needs help, which is running back. You know, I mean, you could argue the linebacker position it has a little bit needs some work there too. You know what I mean? So he could trade one of those guys easily and then upgrade one of those positions.
I talked to him today because I inquired about like Edmonds as well. And he literally told me, he was like, look, dude, like the 2 positions I'm looking to upgrade are running back and linebacker. He was like, those are the positions I need help at. And that's why we couldn't come to like terms or anything. Like it was hard for me and him to discuss trades because I just don't have what he needs.
Yeah.
But like he knows what he needs. And like when you know what you need and you know what you're weak at and you know you need to go out and fix it, like he's one of those players that's going to go out and fix his roster because he's just that guy. Like, and if it's between free agency or it's making a wild trade, he's the guy that's going to do it. Like, he's a good fantasy player, and that's all. I mean, I know that for a fact. He's like a Colby in terms of like how I view him, and I view Colby as like an elite fantasy player.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So some others that made the list. We're not going to go super in depth to. We can't spend 3 hours on this show. At least for me, Matt's team kind of made it as a team that looks very solid.
Love it.
I mean,
he's on my
Daniel
top 5.
Jones, Daniel Jones is kind of iffy, but I think he can have big games. But Chris Carson, Mostert, very solid. Aaron Donald and Bud Dupree, excellent. Darius Leonard, Jonathan Abram can have a big season if he's healthy. He can stream his wide receivers from week to week. Like, I really think I was pretty impressed. And maybe it's just because he's had a couple down years, but I think he had a very good, very solid draft on Saturday.
His roster's invalid, and I've already talked to him, but he was supposed to be bringing Dre Greenlaw back up and getting rid of Mike Williams just to like clear that up as well. I don't know why he hasn't done that.
Okay. Yeah, I assumed that he would be doing, kind of.
Yeah, I think he's just been busy with like work, so he hasn't like quite made his adjustments. And hopefully, like I'll probably text him after this and tell him to make his adjustments real quick.
What division is he in, by the way? You guys remember?
Let's see. He's in. Taking the entire audience with me right now because I'm sharing my screen. Let's see. We'll just go to standings. All right. So the crazy. I just passed it. They're in Conference A, Division East, with Daquan, Colby, and Charles. And we already said Colby and Charles are 2 teams to look out for. We'll talk a little bit later probably about Daquan, but I think Matt, that's another loaded division, really, honestly. It's at least of like player talent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And something to like look out for on Matt's roster, like he took a flyer on Antonio Brown and threw him on the injury reserve thing. And I'm talking about come playoff time, if you got an Antonio Brown sitting on your roster, buddy, people need to watch out. If he's having a good season and he makes the playoffs and there's a healthy Antonio Brown on an actual NFL team, that's something to look out for.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there's other teams that have a couple pieces, but they don't have it all together. Billy, for example, I mean, he's got great running backs, great defensive line, but only one linebacker. So I don't even think that roster is valid at the moment. J.M. Brown, he's got decent safeties. I mean, I think, if Billy can build a few more pieces there, I think he can make a run in that division with BP and Peyton. I think Peyton's team's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Anyone else you guys want to mention before we move on?
Literally, I'm just gonna say his name, and we don't have to like stay on it. But like Mr. Nude, like I think he's got a decent team. I think he's built quality depth in some positions, and even positions that like I don't think he's weak anywhere. We'll put it like that.
Yeah. No, his teams. I don't get me wrong. I know Jordan has the capability of winning my division, and that's why I try not to like put too much emphasis on what teams look like right after the draft, because we still have free agency, trades can happen. But he's the really the only other team in my division that I'm worried about. And I'm not trying to sound overly confident or is that everyone. That's not who I am. But I look at a team. I mean, Tom Brady's gonna have a good year. Philip Lindsay's gonna get points still, even though they have another running back there already. Miles Sanders, everyone's pretty high on him. And his whole offense is just pretty damn loaded, honestly.
Yeah, it's really all about him making the necessary adjustments to find like backup like defensive players. I think Bradley McDougall is going to end up being a pretty nice safety, but like just finding like somebody at linebacker to like complement like a Blake Martinez and stuff like that, because I end up liking Cameron Jordan's a nice DN as well. And, it's just he needs compliments. And I know he has trouble building that defensive presence. So, and he's always been an offensive guy. So I never worry about his offense. I always worry about his defense. And same goes this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he will. I will say though, he did struggle a little bit with that first pick.
Yeah.
we were drafted together, and he was like Nick Chubb or Miles Sanders. And he like kind of was going all these things, and I think I channeled my inner Cody because I was like, oh, it's Miles Sanders. He's gonna have a great year, and that was kind of how he settled on Sanders. And then right after that, we read that Sanders had like a quad issue or something. And he was like,
I heard he's gonna play.
Huh?
I heard he's playing though. Like he's already doing mirroring drills, and like I've read like people are saying like, well, the coach was like, he's already doing mirroring drills. He's probably gonna play. Like,
oh yeah, he should be playing. But there was like a minor like injury thing there on Saturday and whatnot. But no, I like his roster a lot. What about the other side of this, guys? What about guys who maybe hit a few snags or whatnot during the draft? Maybe some of the guys who deserve it.
Come on, man.
All right, invalid rosters, or they're missing, got big gaps, or they drafted 2 receivers in the first 2 rounds, or something crazy. Any rosters that you're not super high on?
I'll start. Can I start this off?
Yeah.
Alex, dude, and I really attribute this to more of the fact that like he doesn't know our scoring system, and it's first year and everything of that nature. I mean, he's, in my opinion, he literally took 2 of the Washington running backs. I assume hoping to like hit on one, and in my opinion, I don't think either one of those is going to be the guy that's going to really get the bulk of the carries right at the beginning. I mean, I love his receivers, but like this isn't a receiver league. He's got, I don't know. I'm just not in love with his roster. Like ultimately, like he's got Phillip Rivers as his quarterback. I would put Phillip Rivers at maybe like QB 18 or something, 19. He's definitely like a back half 2 or a back half 1 in our league. I'm not in love with it, like personally, but I mean, hopefully, like he's a tinker and he can like work it in free agency or work it in trades, and he can get this. I do love his safeties, though. I'll say that because someone that is coming from no safeties, I have no safeties. Like I like his safeties.
Well, maybe that's a guy you could hit up then. But
Right.
hey, I need
Yeah.
some pieces. I can give you. I agree with all of this points. Outside of Buda Baker, I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, there's a lot of Caleb Von Chason, right? That's a rookie. Ryan Kerrigan didn't do much last year. I don't know if he was hurt. Derek Brown is a rookie defensive tackle. Bryce Love didn't play last year. Gibson's a rookie. Like, there's a lot of unproven guys on that roster. And like you said, outside of the receivers, I mean, it's probably not top 12 in any other position, you know? And I think that's going to be tough, but I think it's just a learning curve, right? Like he'll get used to our system and you know, how things work and whatnot. But
Yeah, it's just not a Yahoo league, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I think for me, like
he
a
is
team. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Oh, no
It
doubt.
is.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I think for me, a team like I wasn't totally crazy about, and like another new to the league, so I don't hold anything against him. And I don't want to bash the rookie guys too much. Obviously, I'm not trying to drive anyone away. But no, Sunday Fun Day. That's Brandon's team, who's new to the league. I wasn't crazy about his DB selections. I mean, he's got 2 cornerbacks, and in our league, it can pay off, sure, if they get a pick 6 or something crazy. But honestly, you kind of want to go for the safer plays. Guys are going to get you more tackles and stuff. And honestly, maybe Alex and Brandon can actually pull off a trade together, because in my opinion, Brandon desperately needs a safety, but he has a little bit of depth at running back on different teams, and maybe Alex could give up one of his. I don't know. I'm just thinking a lot. But I wasn't crazy about Jimmy G as starting quarterback. He had to get Jimmy G though because he waited so long on the quarterback. Todd Gurley, there's a lot of risk there. Tevin Coleman, still not the number one. Amari Cooper, that was good. So his receiving core paired up with Zach Ertz and Curtis Samuel, that's solid. But defensive line, wasn't crazy about that with Ndamukong Suh, Chris Jones, Farrell as well. But linebacker with Van Der Esch, I'm probably one of the few people out there who actually is a Van Der Esch fan, and I do think Van Der Esch is going to bounce back really well this year. I don't know. He has some glaring holes, and I think the biggest one is at DB for sure.
Well, for me, like, and this is the kind of the approach I took as well. Like, I just feel like DBs, and I know y'all may feel a little bit differently, but I feel like DB is one of those ones that you can find mid-season or stream a little bit better. I think it's similar to receiver. And I've said in the past, like, I don't like Todd Gurley, and I'm not a massive fan, but he's growing on me a little bit in Atlanta just because I'm not sold on anything else in Atlanta. So I don't quite mind him. I do think Jimmy G is – I mean, he's definitely a low-end one in our league for sure. Like, I think he's going to be in the 20s. I don't think he's special. I think he's a game manager mostly. And especially with all his receivers. Like, I mean, probably his top 2 out of 3 receivers are hurt. Like right now, I don't know if they're going to start week 1. I think is Debo going to start? Like I'm hearing that he's going to play, and if Debo plays, that helps Jimmy dramatically. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind I don't mind Chris Jones. Like I'm not sold. I'm not in love with his D-line. I think his linebackers are fine. I think Zach Cunningham just got that extension. I think he's a decent play. I think he can maybe have a little, I think he can up his level. I mean, he's one of 11 players I said earlier that scored over 500 points at linebacker. So, I think that's a solid play. I think Van Der Esch is a solid backup. He could score 450 to 500 points as well. I agree he needs work at safety. He needs work at D tackle. He needs it's going to be hard for anybody to get better at running back. You pretty much drafted the running backs you drafted because nobody's trading a running back. Let's
Yeah.
be serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are
So,
locked in.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I don't think it's the worst roster out there, but I definitely don't. I think he's bottom 6 for sure.
Yeah, I kind of have the same sentiment there. Definitely. So real quick, and then we'll kind of touch on a few more things before we're done. So Daquan is the guy that I'm picking here. I'm not a huge fan of the team. I mean, one, he's in a tough division. You know, we like Matt's team. Colby's solid. Charles has got a solid team. You know, Gardner Minshew is a complete. You know, we don't know. You know, with Leonard Fournette gone and you know, just the Jacksonville Jaguars in general, right? Marlon Mack is probably going to lose the starting job at some point. J.K. Dobbins doesn't have the starting job and won't have it for some point. N'Keal Harry is completely unproven. I mean, outside of T.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins, there's not a lot of guys on this roster. I mean, he's got Quan Alexander, but like I said, I've been done with him since last season, you know, since he can't stay healthy. I'm just not. I mean, he got Xavier McKinney is injured and he's on his IR. He can't drop him because that was his rookie draft or rookie pick, I think. So I don't know. When I saw him leave the draft, I just kind of felt like it wasn't a very like strong team. It's certainly not star-studded. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be tough to compete with some of the teams in that division. I mean, he's a former. You know, went to the, you know, won the conference championship last year. Went to the championship game against Cameron. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be a rough road, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I've read some good things on KJ. He really needs KJ Dobbins to bust. I mean, to bust out.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I mean that it really hinges on KJ Dobbins at this point for him, dude. Because I mean, obviously I think he's got the best D line player in the league with T.J. Watt, and I think Pat agrees with that based off his rankings.
Mm-hmm.
I think KJ is a solid, like, consistent linebacker. I think he's got a consistent, like, one of the better safeties in terms of Kevin Byard. And then I think Jeremy Chin is going to be dirty. So, like, I'm not off that train. I think he's going to be really good. He obviously probably has one of the worst quarterbacks starting. I'm not in love with it, but I don't hate it. I think he's going to end up being middle of the road, to be honest with you. But we'll see.
No, this certainly isn't the worst team by any means. It's just going to be a tough division. I think there are a lot of teams in that division that are deeper, that have a few more stars. But I do love some of the pieces, you know, Hopkins and Watt, but that's about it. And I think, and even he recognizes the weaknesses because he put in the group chat today, "Hey, I'm looking for a running back. You know, who's going to trade with me?" And I jokingly was like, "Oh, well, I'll trade you Rojo." You know, like. Just because you're not, like Cody said, you're not going to be able to get any of those top 15 or 20 guys from anybody because they're so thin, they're so hard to come by. Like, those guys are locked in. Like, those guys could have an injury in week 1 and be gone for the whole season, and guys will hold them for next year. They are not going to let them go. So it's going to be, you know, it's going to be tough to find that consistency. Like Cody said, I think you really, really have to bet on J.K. Dobbins going off. And winning that starting job this year.
If I was him, though, I would try to link up with, like, I think Matt is the perfect team if you're trying to at least get a starting running back. He's got 2. He's got Chris Carson, Raheem Mostert. I think both those guys are legitimate running backs in this league. And if I'm him, dude, I mean, he doesn't have a great DB core. Matt does, in my opinion. I would try to honestly trade away Jeremy Chin because he is a Panther fan, or Kevin Byard, and just see if maybe you could do that and then swap running backs or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, and I'm telling you this, I was with Matt. Like, me and Matt were pretty much drafted together. We were pretty much in the car on the way back from Charleston drafting over the phone. And I'm telling you what, he was extremely excited that Raheem Mostert dropped because we would literally, like, target players, and then, like, as it would, like, mow down, we were just like, oh, well, we'll end up going here. But, like, Mostert was one of those guys he, like, targeted right at the beginning. And then, like as soon as he picked, he targeted him for the next round, and like he ended up dropping all the way back. And me and Matt were both surprised because I think he ended up getting him in like the 4th round. So like it was like a really good thing for Matt. Matt had a lot of like players like that where like we were looking at him and we were just like, he's not getting back to you, Matt. He's not getting back to you, Matt. And then he just drop, and I'd be like none of my players dropped to me. Like, what's up with you, Matt? But no, Matt had a really good draft, and I definitely think that's something that Daquan can explore and maybe try to talk to Matt.
Yeah. Well, what is fun about the 24 team league is you can talk to anybody. We got 23 other guys you can trade with, so go try to find a trade partner if you got holes. All right, guys, really quickly, let's do the game of the week discussion, and then we'll very, very, very rapidly pick the winners for every single week 1 matchup. Sound good?
I like it.
All right, cool. Let's play this. All right, Pat, you want to lead us into our game of the week?
Let's do it. So obviously we had talked about this during the schedule reveal months ago, but it's primetime players, the Spurs, Daquan versus Cameron, rematch of Little Critter Bowl 10. It's our game of the week 1. I mean, you're coming in. We had talked about one team as a team that we liked, a team we don't like for the season. So obviously after the draft, it's probably not as even as a matchup as we thought it would end up being. But with that said, we all know anything can happen in fantasy football, and anyone can win any given week.
Yeah. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah. Yeah, I was leaving that out for you guys.
The way you ended, it just sounded like you cut out.
Yeah, I didn't catch the lead off. There was no handoff. Like, I fumbled that.
No, like I think Pat went to try to hand it off and just like tripped and just like dropped the baton. Like, and we're standing there looking at him like, what's going on?
I felt like something coming after that.
So, yeah, no, it's obviously, like Pat mentioned, we have 2 different thoughts on how these teams will do season long, right? But in this particular matchup, week 1 is all that matters. I very, very briefly, while you were talking, Pat, went through all of their position by position. I'll give Daquan the edge at receiver and defensive end, but I give Cameron the edge everywhere else in week 1.
Yeah.
Now the projections are very close, 189 to 187 in the projections, mostly because TJ Watt's projected for 42 points. But I think I got to give this one to Cameron. I think in the rematch, I think Cameron bests him again for the week 1 win.
With me, like, oh, man, I personally, I think Daquan's making them. So they both submitted a lineup. Now, granted, this isn't like a set lineup, but I think Daquan's really doing an injustice by starting Marlon Mack week 1. I just think he's got a low ceiling, and I think KJ Dobbins probably has a higher ceiling. I personally would start KJ Dobbins, but that's just me. But I totally agree with you, Pat. Like, wide receiver and DN are the only ones he's winning. He's starting 2 safeties, which is kind of weird. Not my thing. I probably got Cameron this probably by like 50, 60 points.
Ooh, damn. That's a lot in this year.
And the new structure, that's a lot because we're not going to score as many points. So 50 points, man, that's a blowout. That's a complete blowout.
Well, I just like Indy. I just don't think Minshew is going to be that great versus Indy's defense. I really like their D-line this year. And if he's keeping Marlon Mack in right now, I genuinely don't think like he's got a shot.
Okay, man. Whew. That's a blow. Yeah. So yeah. Pat, who are you picking?
This is a no-brainer. I'm going Cameron. I don't think it's gonna be close either. The spread wise, God, I'm gonna go 25 is what I'm gonna take on this game in favor of Cameron.
Oh man. I'm gonna go lower than all you guys. I'm gonna go 18 in favor of Cameron.
Okay.
18.
Okay.
All right.
You want to crown them? Then crown their.
There you go, Cameron. Crowning you for week 1.
Yeah,
Week
well,
1
I'm
game of
rooting
week
for Daquan though, Cameron. So you just know that.
All right, so let's go through. We've been about what 35 minutes at this point, I think, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
32
something like
minutes.
that.
So let's
Rapid
go through
fire,
these other
baby.
matchups. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Speed picking here. I'm just gonna go off of what I'm looking at. I know yours is all different than mine, but Colby versus Jameson, week 1. Me and Colby.
I love how you refer to yourself that way.
Well, I mean, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna give it. I'll give it to you, Jameson. But I'm gonna say like 3 points. I'm gonna go with the
Oh,
upset.
shit. Okay. So it's going to be a stressful day for me then, is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
I'm actually gonna go Colby. No,
Okay.
I mean no. I'm sorry, Jameson, but like I genuinely like the linebacker duo of Jalen Smith and Bobby Wagner. I think Le'Veon's gonna have a decent day. I genuinely like Ben Roethlisberger this year as well. I think I just like his roster. Honestly, I think he's probably a top 10 roster.
He's gonna be tough in week 1, but I'm being led by Kyler Murray, Mr. Electric.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick
My
myself,
MVP pick.
obviously. Huh?
I said my MVP.
Oh, your MVP pick. Yeah. That was actually a little bit of what convinced me to draft him. When he fell to me, I was like, Cody says that's the MVP.
Cody says that's the MVP.
Well, also
All right, guys.
ridiculous value too.
Yeah, no, it was definitely solid. Next, we've got the Crazy Legs, Matt. And we
Hey, are
got
you Dirty Mike and the boys?
Dirty Mike and the boys? Give me the winner.
Who's going first?
I'll go first. I'm just gonna do this quick, dude. I think Matt's gonna win. I think the only thing that Dirty Mike and the boys is better at is wide receivers. Personally, I do like his DN, but even Matt like has got Aaron Donald, and Aaron Donald can go off at any time. Yeah, I'm going Matt.
I'm going Matt too. I'm gonna pick Matt by 10.
Yep. I've got Matt.
I got Matt
next
at
game.
18.
Matt by
I'm
8.
hitting-
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hitting this. He just hit the 10, so I had to.
How about this? I'm gonna price this right. I've got Matt by 19. All right, next game here: Alex versus Charles.
Ooh.
Charles.
I'm gonna go Charles.
Yep.
I got Charles by 35.
35.
35. Wow.
Well, dude, the way I look at it is like Alex is my least favorite roster, to be honest with you, and it could be totally different, but like I don't mind. I mean, he's got Saquon, he's got Matt Ryan. I think his receivers are fine, man. Like he's probably gonna start Stephon Diggs as the number 1 in Buffalo. I mean, I like Charles's roster. I think he should have got a shout out. Probably. I think we did a small shout out for him, but I like Charles's roster.
Okay.
Cody versus Hunter.
I'm gonna bust Hunter's butt.
I'm trying to see. Oh, he hasn't said his lineup yet. Dang, I was gonna see who he had in there.
Yet. I'm actually gonna go Hunter here in a very close one because I do like some of the matchups.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go opposite. I'm gonna take Cody in this by 11. And by the way, I didn't pick my spread for the Charles game, but I'm gonna pick that one by 13. Charles. Just picking numbers. I'm picking.
We're just picking numbers. Yeah, there are no metrics or measuring or anything behind the spread that we're picking. It's just completely whatever we feel like.
Off the dome.
Off the dome. Michael versus Billy in week 1.
One of my favorite matchups right here.
This is gonna be a good one.
This
I
is
think.
tough. Yeah. I'm gonna go Billy in this one by very close margin because he's got CMC and CEH.
Yeah, I think CH is gonna go off when I keep saying Oakland, Las Vegas now.
Man,
they don't play Las Vegas in week 1. The Panthers do.
Sorry, that's what I'm talking about. Christian McCaffrey.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, I'm gonna pick Billy in this too. I'm gonna pick Billy by 15.
I've got it by 8.
You know what? Like, if I can predict what his like lineup's gonna be, I'm gonna go with Michael because I do like the Eckler versus Cincinnati. I think that's just as good as he's no CMC. Don't get me wrong, but he's a poor man CMC, and I think the Cincinnati's a nice matchup. I assume he's probably gonna start Tyler Lockett. I like DeForest Buckner. I like Michael. I like Michael.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Peyton Jordan. Their projections only 1 point different, with Jordan winning in the projections. I'm just gonna say I'll go Peyton here, simply because I think he's got a stronger quarterback, and I think Drew Lock might take a little bit, especially against Tennessee, in the defense.
Yeah, I'm going Peyton, and it sounds weird, but it might really come down to the flex player, Logan Ryan versus Zadarius Smith or Cameron Hayward, depending on who you're looking at as Jordan's flex.
Ugh. I don't like games coming down to flex guys that no one cares about. Logan Ryan versus Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
I lost in week 1 because of Logan Ryan. Who do you got, Cody?
Oh, is Cody there? Oh, his computer
no.
just died. No.
No.
He just texted us.
Cody.
No.
Yeah, he just texted us. All right, we'll have to finish this up without him then. Come on, Cody. You got to use your charger, man, all the time. All right, Pat. We got 5 here. Let's see. Maria versus John.
Ooh, Maria versus John. What's it's not telling me the total here between the two. Oh yeah, it's Maria 174, my dad 163. Yeah, I'm gonna take. It says Team Dylan on the screen right now, but Maria, she's the man, is her team name. I'm gonna take her by. I'm gonna pick her by 4. I think it's gonna be pretty close. I think Alvin Kamara's gonna have a good game against Tampa.
I'm gonna pick her by 24.
Oh wow! Okay.
That was my team. That was my team. That was a team I said is gonna be great. So obviously I'm picking Maria. I'm all aboard the train. BP versus Storm. This is BP for me. Week 1.
Yes, by far. Yeah.
All right. Pat, you versus Brandon. Brandon's been brought up as one of the teams that we're not super high on this year. I'm gonna go you in that matchup.
I'm the kiss of death, if no one knows. So usually who I pick ends up losing. I'm going to pick myself. It's a very ballsy move by me saying that out loud in public, but I'm going to pick myself to win that game.
All right, Mondo and Big Os. Mondo, one of the strongest rosters, we think. Big Os, definitely a few holes. I'm going to pick Mondo here.
Oh, I was trying to find... What's spread?
No, it doesn't say because neither one of them has set their lineups yet.
Oh, that's why it's not doing it. All right, I'm going to go Mondo in this.
Okay. And then last game here, Mufali versus Burrow's body count, BBC.
BBC.
Hello.
Hey, he's back.
Oh, Cody, you're back.
For the last pick.
Which one is it?
Mufali versus BBC.
Who? Oh no! I'm gonna go Mufali. Actually, yeah. I think Mufali's gonna make a couple moves, so I like Mufali's team. I think it's gonna be a very close match. I think Burrow is like a risky play, but I think he's gonna end up having an okay season. He's probably gonna finish around like 17. But I love his I thought he did good with the Aaron Jones pick. I just like his roster. I mean, personally, I don't think it's as bad as like maybe it was made out to be earlier, maybe. So I'm going, but I'm gonna go Mufali.
Okay, I'm going with an upset here. I'm going with BBC. And for those that don't know, when we say BBC, we're actually referring to the draft software that we mock draft with, because it abbreviated Burrow's body count as BBC, and ever since then, that's how he's been known in my head as BBC. So.
Yep. So now you've got a nickname that's not going to go away. Just like Dirty Mike and the Boys. It's stuck.
Yeah.
It's stuck forever. We'll probably find an inappropriate sound drop somewhere, and then it definitely will get stuck.
Exactly.
Never be known as anything else. All right, guys. I liked how Cody just talked up his whole team. He's like, yeah, he did this and this and this and this, but I'm going to pick Mufali. All right, guys. Well, that's it. This is a fun episode, a little bit longer episode, but I hope you understand it being the last one of the off season, heading into week 1. Guys, Thursday night, Chiefs or Texans, who wins the game?
Ooh, I'm going Chiefs. I'm actually doing our pick'ems right now. If anyone wants to join me throughout the season, I'm picking Kansas City in this.
Literally, I was just about to say that, like, Patrick, like, let's all do pick'ems. Like, I feel like only like 6 of us end up participating
Yeah,
every
for real.
year. Let's everybody go on your app, do your pick'ems, pick your teams. You can even follow us and pick your teams through the app as well, like who's gonna win the fantasy matchups. So like do those as well. So do the fantasy matchups and the NFL matchups. Let's all have fun with the pick'ems.
If anybody wants to do pick'ems for money, let me know. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm down to throw 5 to 10 in.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good. All right, we'll
Let's
do it
do
off the show. All right, guys. Wait, did we all pick? I picked Chiefs, by the way, week 1.
Houston, I got Houston.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Well, I look forward to it, guys. We'll see you back for next week I get to break down week 1, talk about week 2. Not really sure yet. We'll figure it out. Have fun in week 1, and I look forward to all the trash talk kicking off Thursday night. All right, guys. We're out. See you.